Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll give a few minutes for everyone to enter the Zoom room and get settled in. While we're waiting to get started, I would love if everyone could introduce themselves in the chat. Just let us know where you're calling in from. My name is Lindsay, and I'm calling in from Barcelona. I am head of community and events at Outsite. We are a global network of co-living and co-working spaces all around the world. We have about 50 locations in the US, Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America, and we offer community events, perks, and discounts for remote workers, digital nomads, creatives, entrepreneurs, anyone who's interested in the lifestyle. I'm here with my colleague Rebecca and Veerle from Zoku, and we're going to talk today about Outsite's newest partnership with Zoku. So while we're waiting for everyone to get settled, I'd love it if you could introduce yourself in the chat and let us know where you're calling in from. Please make sure that the chat is set to everyone so that everyone can see who we have with us today. I've just introduced myself, and I would love if my co-presenters could introduce themselves as well. Rebecca, could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I could, yes. Hello, obviously, my name is Rebecca. I'm calling in today from London. I manage marketing at Outsite, so that means everything you see on social, email, PR, our blog, any creators that we work with, that typically falls under what I do. I've been with Outsite since 2017, so it's been a while. And that also means that I've had the chance to see a lot of our spaces as well. So I'm here to answer any questions about how the Zoku Outsite partnership works. But Veerle will be the one to tell us more about the Zoku properties.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. So my name is Veerle. It's a tough name to pronounce for anybody who's not Dutch, but I'm calling in from Amsterdam. I'm the brand and concept director at Zoku. I've been with the company for 12 years and counting, so quite a while as well, and have basically helped build the concept from the ground up and the brand as well. So anything guest experience related, design, branding, and really cool partnerships like this one. So I'm very excited to be talking about the Outside Time Zoku partnership today.
Thank you so much. I would love if our attendees could introduce themselves in the chat and let us know where you're calling in from so we can see who we have with us today. And we'll get started in just a few minutes. Some housekeeping notes. The chat is open as well as the Q&A box. If you have any questions as we're going along, please feel free to put them in the chat or in the Q&A box. In the Q&A box, others can upvote your question. So at the end, when we have time for Q&A, we can know which questions are the most pertinent, but I'll be looking at the chat and the Q&A. So feel free to put your question in either space. And I see we have Laura calling in from Miami, Florida, AG from San Francisco. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, for those of you that I have not met yet, I'm Lindsay. I'm head of community and events at Outsite. And I'm so excited to be here with my colleague Rebecca and Veerle, and we're going to talk about Outsite's newest partnership with Zoku. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Rebecca, could you give a little bit more information about Outsite and the partnership with Zoku?
So I'll start describing Outsite. I'm not sure how familiar everyone on the call is with us, but essentially we are a network of co-living spaces around the world, as well as a community of remote workers. So at the moment, if you head to our website, you'll see we have, I believe we're on about 47 locations. We started in Santa Cruz, California. Essentially, the CEO had got a remote role and was really into surfing. So that was the first place that he'd gone to. He's originally from Belgium. And yeah, he'd moved over there and had started renting out rooms in one house. And that's really where it started. So there was Santa Cruz, then I believe it was San Diego, LA, then Costa Rica, and it really went from there. And so today you'll find us in all over Europe now. So we're in Portugal, France, Spain. We are in Morocco, Bali, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Mexico, and still within the States too. So there's some of the locations we have. There's also Outsite membership. So once you are an Outsite member, you can access to book any of these properties at a discounted rate. So whenever you're, say, for example, you're looking at heading over to Costa Rica, you would like to go there and work remotely. Airbnbs may be a bit too isolating. A hostel is not the right crowd, and a hotel is kind of expensive. You kind of want the thing in between all of them. So that's where we come in. And the longer that you stay with us, the higher the discount is as well. So that is a little bit about Outsite. And so leaning now to explain the Zoku partnership. So we often survey our members, and some of our most requested locations previously have included Amsterdam and Paris. We do not have those locations yet. However, we got in touch with Zoku towards the end of last year, and obviously they have these really, really beautiful spaces, not only in Amsterdam and Paris, but in Copenhagen and Vienna. And obviously it's I'm trying to remember the exact language, Veerle. I think it's a hybrid hotel specifically designed for business travelers. Yeah. So for us, that fits in really, really perfectly. It's a really, really consistent experience when you go to these spaces. So we're really happy to be able to work with them. And yeah, we launched, I believe, it might have been March or April. So yeah, that brings us to where we are today.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. And with that, I would love to hear more about what you're all here to listen about, and that is Zoku. And Veerle has put together a presentation for us, and we'll talk about the Zoku brand, the locations. We'll get a sneak peek of some of the locations, and then again at the end, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. So you can have any of your questions answered. You can put your questions in the Q&A box and others can upvote your questions, or you can put them in the chat and we'll check them all out at the end and get your questions answered. So with that, I'll turn it over to Veerle and let's hear about Zoku. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lindsay. Yeah, so I think it's really cool what Rebecca already mentioned is that, you know, we got in touch last year and we said, okay, we're actually the perfect match because at Zoku, we've been designed with and for remote workers and business travelers. And we're very much about creating communities. So there was this very beautiful brand overlap that we saw. And I will be getting into the details of what makes Zoku great for remote working. And I will also show you a little bit of the backstory because I think it's more fun because that's the stuff you can't find on the website. And while I'm here, it's fun to understand why we're so particular. We're very, we have a very well-crafted experience from beginning to end. And I've taken a lot of care in crafting that perfectly. So Zoku in a nutshell. Zoku is a Japanese term for family, tribe, or clan. And in the 80s, this was a cultural subphenomenon in Japan where people with the same lifestyle used to live together. So there would be different types of tribes and Zokus, people who would only eat with a knife and fork instead of chopsticks, or people that were part of the gay tribe. So all these Zokus started appearing, and we thought that would be actually a really cool name for a concept because we are all about bringing people together. And I'll go into that a little bit more later. So if you were to have to put us in a nutshell, because that's probably the hardest, it's basically a place you can call your second home, even on your first visit. So Rebecca mentioned that we're a hybrid hotel, very much a hive of private lofts and rooftop social spaces, somewhere between a home and an office and a hotel, I would say. And you can stay connected to other people. You don't have to become lonely here. We have a lot of great events happening and rituals, social rituals that can really connect you to other people staying here that are in the same boat. And we're located in these beautiful 4 locations in Europe. As mentioned before, I'll go into those a little bit later as well. For those who are interested in sustainability, we also have, we are B Corp certified in Amsterdam, and we are now pending certification in the other locations, which means that we kind of uphold the highest standards in sustainability, but also social responsibility and accountability. So we have that as a very important part of our business. So when we started Zoku, we started kind of with a white sheet of paper. In the hotel industry, this was back in 2011. Not much was happening in the terms of innovation. If you look at other competitors, it was going towards luxury or budget luxury, somewhere in between. But we wanted to create a space for people that was also kind of like outside, I guess, an in-between space. So you had, if you go somewhere for work for a little bit longer, you had hotels or you had Airbnb. But nothing really that was social. So at a hotel, you're still a room number. You have this bedroom that you could stay in, but you can't really invite people into your bedroom for obvious reasons, if they're just a colleague. And also in Airbnb, you can invite people into your space, but you're still quite lonely. And it's hard to get this local social life going. So we found this gap and we decided to work together with the people that were living and working remotely in cities for periods between 5 days and 3 months. So that was kind of the period we were focusing on. And these people have co-created with us this concept. So I always say Zoku is not from 1 or 2 people. It's really from 300 plus people that we've created this concept with. So here you can see it's a very old picture, but I always like showing it. It's basically one of our many sessions that we had, the pizza and beer sessions they ended up with, where we asked people, what do you want? What frustrates you as well? Because that's really an interesting insight for innovation. And with them, we've crafted the entire concept and the design. Here you see one of our guest experience maps, one of our earlier ones. So we were putting Post-its and really coming up with ideas to make their life better and more fulfilling. After we created kind of the concept on paper, we wanted to start by really going into the modeling of a beautiful micro apartment. And back in the day, micro apartments were quite prevalent on YouTube. You might have seen some of them yourself, where you fold your table into a bed and your kitchen disappeared and you swap your couch and that becomes a bed as well. So all these kind of flipping apartments. And we thought it was quite interesting. But then soon we kind of realized it is a lot of work to, keep flipping your furniture around to kind of save space. So we said our ultimate challenge here is really to create an entire apartment's worth in only 24 square meters. And that is actually the normal size of a 4-star hotel bedroom. So instead of just a bed and a bathroom, we said, let's create living space as well. And the fun part was we wanted to make the table the most dominant object in the room and not the bed. So you can actually invite people over, because that was what for people made their home. So started out with these little dollhouse models that you see here, and we took them to companies and we took them to people and we said, would you stay here? And then how much would you pay? That's kind of how we validated our business model. Then we built our first life-size model. You can see it here. It's just cheap white wood material stuck together with glue and nails. And we said, let's build this and let's again invite people and ask them, what do you think? Would you stay here? What can we do better? And they told us, they spoke their minds. A lot more pizza and beer sessions there. And around 3,000 comments later, we got to kind of our first beautiful prototype. And this is one of them. And we said we even want to go a little bit further and just asking people for their feedback and their thoughts. And then we said, okay, we have this kind of this nutty professor. He was working with this EEG scanning equipment that you can put on your head, and it will test brainwaves for anxiety and delight. And it actually really worked. We asked this girl, let me see if I can play it for you, to come in, and she was wearing the headsets and she was going into the loft, and we know all the details, we know all the comments that people are going to make. So we were kind of like, we're looking for that last little thing. And you can see here that she's trying to open the bed. And this was feedback that we never gotten before, because it's kind of sounds stupid if you have to say like, well, I don't know how to open the bed. And you can see right now, finally she gets it. That's how I open it. And it taught us like, okay, we can be even better in our UX design, in design lingo. And that's how we actually ended up with a little leather lip at the end of this sliding door, just to make it a little bit easier. Just to illustrate how far we go. We love to go a little bit into the details there. But in every aspect of our design and our guest experience journey, we really try to make it comfortable, social. We give you a lot of freedom of choice, so you don't have to adapt to us. We try to adapt to you as much as possible. And these are things that we knew from our remote working target audience that people said that's really important. There we go. So, and we ended up with the Zoku Loft, the ultimate home base. as you can see, the table is the most central piece of furniture. And the rest is kind of like Tetris, I would say. It's kind of stacked functionality that is going on top of each other all the way to the top of the space. So we try to use most of the square meters as free living space and just stack all the functionalities in the back. It's a fully equipped kitchen. Behind the kitchen, you have our bathroom, which has a shower and a toilet. You can actually close off your shower from if you have guests over, so it feels a bit more nice. They don't have to look into your shampoos and stuff. And you have a lot of storage space. I think you can see how much here. It's almost like, some people say it's like a boat, you know, every little square centimeter is used. And the fun part is, of course, the staircase that pulls out. That was the one thing we allowed, like, let's, you know, be able to flip this and you don't have to turn your kitchen around or flip your bed into a table, etc. We just want you to be able to open the staircase. Everything you need to live comfortably and work efficiently. And another fun fact about this thing is that a lot of people told us when we were creating Zoku, you know, most hotel rooms, I always feel like every trace of me is being erased when I leave. And I never have any say into what I want my space to be. Because people stay here for longer, we actually wanted them to have sort of that feel like this is my space. So what we added was art swaps in the hallways. So you can actually grab art from this art swap and swap it with the art on your wall. If you don't like yellow, take it off, get something blue. If you like photo art, if you like illustration, there's some choice for you here. So it gives you some personalization. Then going over to our rooftop social spaces. So this is basically the space where everybody kind of comes together. And the first thing you usually see when you enter a hotel is this big reception desk, and there's people with screens standing behind the reception desk. We never really like that because it gives you the feeling that you're in a hotel, and we kind of don't want that. We really take pride in people coming up in their socks and without shoes and just feeling like this is my living room. And that's exactly what these social spaces are. It's kind of an extension of your living room because you have your loft. I mean, I'm sitting in right now. Maybe you guys can already see it a little bit. But if you want more space or if you feel like meeting people, it's just like a hostel, but more fancy, I would say. But it is very easy to run into people. And that's usually not the case in a hotel. So that's a bit different. We try to reduce the barrier between the people working at our bar and kitchen and everywhere at Zoku and the people actually staying here by as much as possible. So we took away a lot of barriers. There's no reception desks. You can go behind and through the bar. You can go in the kitchen. You can actually make your own coffee if you'd like to, or tap your own beer if you feel like it. You can help the chef kind of chop some avocados. So we really try to make you feel a little bit more at home and a little bit more part of the place. So our coffee bar and living room is kind of where it's at. During the day, it's around this is a lot of long communal tables where you can do some co-working, where you can have a coffee, relax, read a book. And in the evening, kind of more intimate mood sets in, so you can get some cocktails and some drinks. And of course, relax on our rooftop terraces, which we have everywhere as well. Here you can see some pictures of the living room. The cabinets are full of books and games and candy and Lego that you can steal. So nothing's glued to the wall. So just grab it and take it to your loft if you want, and then return it later. It's all about kind of, connecting with other people and having some play in your life. And then we also have our living kitchen in every location. And we always say kind of food is the easiest social connector, right? People from all sorts of cultures, all different countries, they love connecting over food. We love it too. So we said, let's make sure that we always be able to offer really healthy, nutritious food with a bit of a local twist, but very much a worldly kitchen. I don't know if some of you are familiar with Yotam Ottolenghi. He's a really amazing chef. We took a lot of inspiration from his kitchen. So a lot of vegetables, a lot of flavors. And as you can see on the left picture, it's really cool. You can sit on these long communal tables. We have our weekly community dinner there as well, which is a dinner where you can just, hop in and kind of meet people that are also new at Zoku, who are kind of in the same boat. And then we have our co-working spaces. These vary from property to property, but basically it's really nice long tables, lots of sockets, and some toolboxes, which you can see here on the tables, where you can kind of use it to work. They're usually more quiet. You have some phone booths as well. So if you need some privacy to do a phone call, we have that. And it's a great way to meet other people as well, because it might be quiet, but whenever someone new joins your table, they always introduce themselves. There's a lot of local members at every Zoku as well. So if you go stay with us, you can kind of rub elbows with the locals easily during one of our rituals. And then we also have meeting and event spaces. Might be a little bit less interesting for you guys, but just in case, if you have clients, local clients that you have to host, we have these spaces available. Or if you're, throwing a party, there's always space at Zoku. And then last but not least, we have our green spaces. So we have a lot of rooftop terraces, but also enjoy these beautiful rooftop gardens. It's one of the things that the people told us when we were creating the concept. They said, often when you're in a city, in a hotel, you kind of miss an outside and you miss being part of the changing seasons. So we said, it's actually beautiful if our social spaces are on the rooftop. Let's make it as green as possible, not only inside, but also outside. So here you can see our rooftop garden in Amsterdam. And you can always chill in one of the hammocks if the weather permits. So it depends kind of, if it's raining, there won't be there. But if it's sunny, it's the best way to unwind after a busy day. So just in a nutshell, we have a lot of these spaces to enjoy. So the rooftop spaces are the living room, the living kitchen restaurant, our Kindred Spirits bar, rooftop terrace, our co-working space, and our meeting and event spaces. And then we also have some other spaces that are just quite utility, but very useful, I think, to mention. If you want to get your laundry done, you can. But if you're more like, I'll do it myself, then we have a laundrette downstairs. We also have a locker room. So if you have some excess stuff you want to store, or you coming in too early for check-in, or leaving late after checkout, you can just store your stuff with us, no problem. There's a changing room. So if you need to take a shower after a long flight, which is always something that is like the awkward in between hours before check-in or before you leave, you can just take a nice shower there. Zoku Paris and Zoku Vienna both have a gym. And Zoku Amsterdam and Zoku Copenhagen have gym partnerships with local gyms nearby. So you can stay fit if you want to. And then we have an everything store, an almost everything store, because we try to stock all the things that you might go, oh no, it's 11 o'clock at night, I forgot to pack XYZ, all these things we have. Also, if you're going home, you're like, oh no, I forgot a souvenir, a cute one for my friends or my family. We've got you. We've got some really cute local things and local guides to help you kind of experience the city better in this little shop. Another nifty thing that we have is the hallway pantry. So if you're staying in your loft and at the end of the hallway, there's this pantry of all these things that you don't have in your loft, but you might need. So if you want, for example, a rice cooker, a toaster, extra cleaning products, or extra toilet paper, or extra towels, or a nice extra pillow, you can just go to the pantry and grab it. And you can also get rid of your trash here if you have too much. Then last but not least, I mentioned it earlier, the art swap station. So all the art you want from different types of artists. So you can really kind of curate your own art collection. Go nuts. I mean, some people do it. I sometimes come into lofts and they're just full of art. I love it. And leave a little bit of a trace behind from yourself as well. Then I mentioned before a little bit as well that community is really at the core, and that's why we're so happy to be partnering with Outsite as well, because I think it's a big focus point for Outsite, and for Zoku as well. So for us, if you come to Zoku, you always get really introduced into the community by our local community managers. Each location has one. You can see it on the Outsite website who it is, with a little introduction. So definitely they will contact you and they'll try to get you to meet them if you want to, and really connect you to everybody that you might find interesting. So if you need a tennis buddy, or if you're just looking to connect with some people, they will invite you to all of the events that they're organizing. And we also have these small rituals that we do, like our fika coffee break ritual. It's basically every day at 3:30. People come together, all the local coworkers and all the residents, and you guys can come together, have a little coffee break. It's on us, and a sweet treat. Just have a break in your day and easily meet people. Same with the community dinner or the Friday night live music. It's in every Zoku, so easy way to connect over food and music. Then just some benefits in a row. So when you arrive, you will get kind of a message from our community manager, and they will really kind of get you introduced to Zoku, about what's the best way to get around here? What's the city like? Do you need any help with? I mean, some people will ask like, where can I get my nails done? To how can I get a good bike? I mean, we're here in Amsterdam, so that's an important question. But also, you know, I need a local lawyer. Our community managers have the entire Rolodex ready for you and are also really able to kind of show you how to get the most out of your stay here. You will enjoy 15% off of food and drinks from our Kindred Spirits bar and our living kitchen. You will have 24/7 rooftop access to our social space. You have to work different time zones and you don't want to do it alone in your loft, which, I mean, I'm like that. I always want people around me. It's actually really nice. You can just go up there and sometimes you find like a kindred spirit in there, someone who's also working weird time zones, and you can kind of connect. You will be joining a private WhatsApp group with other people that are also in the Zoku location. Oh, sorry. And you'll get some event invites. So all the events that are happening during your stay, you will be invited to automatically. If they're ticketed events, you get a 15% discount on that. And then the fika ritual I mentioned. So you always get you know, invited to all of our little social breaks across all properties. And last but not least, it's only if you're staying for long, but if you're interested, you can actually register your business at Zoku. So you have your own little post box. So if you're staying with us for a month and you need a place to get your meal sorted, then this is the place. And specifically for outside members, we have a special bonus. If you're staying 14 nights plus, you get weekly free breakfast, which is really tasty. I would recommend do it in the weekend because then it's brunch and it's even better. And if you're staying 28 plus nights, you can enjoy both a weekly breakfast and a lunch. So if you're enjoying like a co-working day, it's really nice. You can just have the lunch here and it's so healthy and it's very nutritious and you're going to love it. So just going into the specific locations. Zoku Amsterdam, it's really located, I'm actually in Zoku Amsterdam right now. It's located in a beautiful neighborhood. It's the Eastern Canal District, so quite a central location. You're basically from Central Station to here in 10 minutes. And a very green neighborhood. You can walk from here all through the city. You don't even need a bike. You can if you want to explore more of the city. But it's really great. So this location, it's actually our first one. It opened up in 2016. Here, the garden is where it's at. So you come upstairs on the 6th floor. Sorry. And you come into our greenhouse right away and you can see our rooftop garden where people are relaxing. And especially now it's getting to summer. I mean, people really love enjoying the outside here. We have a lot of fun events there as well. So rooftop parties, there's a silent disco happening next week. We have amazing co-working community. So we have over 40 members, locals that you can just meet if you're staying here and you're working upstairs. They're all very nice and they're tight-knit community and they will welcome you with open arms. And our kitchen is divine. So Zoku Copenhagen, it's in this very cool up-and-coming neighborhood called Amma. And it's really kind of this architectural Danish neighborhood where you have close by a really big park. So you can actually, if you're a runner or if you like walks outside, nature is just 2-minute walk away. And we have a lot of cool loft types here that you can see in the pictures. Beautiful Danish cuisine. So if you love fish, if you like fresh food, you're going to love the kitchen here. And a lot of rooftop parties as well. So if you enjoy a cocktail, this is kind of the location to enjoy as well. Zoku Vienna. It's a funny one because when we looked at the location, we saw, oh no, it's next to a fairground. And we thought, I hope it's going to be not too weird. And then we actually built it and we think it's the funniest thing ever because the coolest thing about Zoku Vienna is we have this big rooftop terrace and you can just sit there from after your work session enjoying an Aperol Spritz and you see just everything happening. There's people in swinging machines going up and down and there's a Ferris wheel and there's a roller coaster. And you don't really have the noise from it, but it's such a fun thing to behold. And we have a lot of amazing parties here as well. We had a pub quiz there last night on the rooftop terrace. Vienna comes with great weather. And I think also what's good to mention about both Vienna and Copenhagen is that if you think Zoku is a little bit too expensive, I would really recommend Q1 to go to Zoku Vienna or Zoku Copenhagen. They're very underrated for the winter season because there's less people coming there, but it's actually a really cool season. They have Christmas markets, both of them. There's ice skating. It's beautiful cities, both of them, to go in winter. And then also the kitchen here is very nice. There's a lot of yummy snacks and cocktails. So here I would say like we call it the girl dinner. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but you know, you have the cocktail and all of the little snacks, and that becomes dinner. That's really nice about Vienna. Then Zoku Paris, this is our latest edition. So this opened a little bit over a year ago. We just had our first birthday party a couple of weeks back. So the newest Zoku, absolutely beautiful location. I know Paris is a very popular one also for outside members, so definitely can recommend visiting one. It's in a very well-connected location. So wherever you want to go in Paris, just take the metro and you're there. It has a separate co-working space that is closed off. So if you really want some more quiet and silent workspace, it's actually perfect for that. And I mean, the cakes are fantastic here. So I would definitely enjoy a lot of the fika coffee ritual here if I were you guys. And of course, French food. I mean, who doesn't love French food? So as our newest location, I really recommend going here. And that is kind of my brief walkthrough of the Zoku locations and experience. So thank you.
Thank you so much. That was lovely. I really love to see all of the pictures. I love the design and the color. It looks really exciting. Rebecca, where would you pick to go first?
I actually think Vienna. I've been there before. I think the city's absolutely beautiful. But what you mentioned about the food also sounds great. Big fan of girl dinner.
Yeah, I am also a fan of girl dinner. And Veerle, I know that you're based in Amsterdam, and it also might be hard to pick a favorite, but out of all the Zokus, do you have a favorite and why?
Ooh, it's a good question. That is such a hard. It's like choosing between your children, you know?
I know.
I don't have children, but I can only imagine. My favorite. I mean, yeah, so I would say Amsterdam is our flagship because it's the first one that opened. So it's you know, that's like your first one. But I think what I can say is like for me, Vienna, I agree with Rebecca. For me, that was actually the city that surprised me most because I thought Vienna, it's a bit dusty and old and what's really there. But I think the city actually, it's so on point. There's
It's
these
stunning.
vineyards nearby that you can just go there, take an Uber like 15 minutes and you're in these vineyards and you could just taste wine, and there's a great food scene. And then the location that Zoku is at, it's just so cool with this fairground, and there's this huge park nearby as well. So I love that location. Yeah, don't tell anybody.
It's between us. I know we talked a little bit about this with the Vienna location, but Laura is wondering, do you purchase and retrofit old hotels, or do you find the spaces that are kind of set up to begin with, or how do you select your building, and how much renovations are you doing?
It's a good question. So we actually set out to do renovations only because at the time it was so 2011, 2012, it was still kind of the economic crisis, and there was a lot of real estate available, but there were mostly offices. So the one I'm sitting at now, Amsterdam, is a converted office building from the 60s. And we wanted to convert these buildings, make them more sustainable, and actually go from there. But then we opened Amsterdam. It was 2016. And then the economy was going so well that all the office buildings were just dried up. So there was no office. So we ended up getting new build locations for Copenhagen, Vienna, and Paris. Which take longer, and they're good in terms of like actually being able to make a sustainable building from the get-go. So that was good for us. But Zoku is actually made as a conversion product. We just never have found a hotel building to convert yet because our lofts are quite, well, as you can see maybe in the picture that I showed you guys earlier, you can see it's like a very specific design. So it's not easy that we can't just fit it into this old Victorian house with lots of staircases, and like there's specific sizes that we have our rooms in. Yeah.
Thank you. And that kind of dovetails a little bit with the question from Clara. do you have any future plans to expand in any other European cities? And she mentions Munich and London.
Nice. Well, that's actually a beautiful intro. Yes, we are very much looking in London at the moment. Munich's also on our radar. Actually cool that you mentioned those two. But yeah, right now our main focus and all of our attention is going on London. We are looking for buildings everywhere, so we are really, really hyper focused on that. So if you have any great location advice for us, let us know. But that will be most likely our next Zoku. We're also looking for a second one in Paris, second one in Amsterdam, and we're going to dip our toes into the Madrid market as well.
Wow, great cities. I'll be excited to see those come down the pipeline. And then we also have a question. I know you talked a little bit about your local coworkers, but do you offer memberships for just using the co-working space if you're not staying at Zoku?
Yes, yes. So it's a good question. So maybe to explain it a little bit more. So actually where this came from, we opened Zoku, it was a great success. There were so many people coming to our spaces that at a certain moment, the people that are actually staying at Zoku were like, I can't squeeze in with my laptop. So they wanted to work in our social spaces and we couldn't offer them a spot. So he said, now this is a luxury problem, but we need to fix it. So what we did was we threw up a small barrier where actually we offer a co-working membership, but it's very value for money if you compare it to other local co-working places. But what we did is by doing that, we threw up a little barrier, but we actually have added this curation process of the people that apply for a membership. We want them to fit the actual community that they're going to be part of and actually want to be a bit more social than the standard the standard coworker that just comes to work and leaves again. So we're really looking for the people that are, open and chatty, and not chatty when everybody's working, but that want to connect to other people. And it's actually a very cool mix of locals that are usually very internationally oriented or are internationals themselves that have gone through this whole process of, becoming a Dutchie, but still want to kind of keep in touch with that international vibe. So yeah, we've got local coworkers, and then the people that are staying at Zoku get access to the spaces. So they kind of mix, and it makes for a very nice sense of belonging.
Thank you. Can you also talk a little bit more about the types of events that you hosted? I know you have some of the coffee ritual, but for example, events that occur on the rooftop or ticketed events, what type of events does Zoku host?
Definitely. I mean, we are very active in terms of events. We love organizing all sorts of things. We love celebrating national holidays. Like here, we just had King's Day, so we throw a big party. But next to that, a lot of live music, a lot of food events, events that actually teach you stuff. So we had a creative writing workshop, we had a meditation workshop, we had a class on like how to craft your career in the Netherlands or in Denmark or in Austria. And we actually have like all of these kind of future of work focus type of speakers coming in and out. We also do a lot of diversity and inclusion events. We try to kind of give more of a platform. For example, we work together in Amsterdam with the Trans House for the trans community. And then, yeah, I mean, it's a big variety of things, but we like to throw yoga classes, Pilates classes, so all sorts of events. As long as you can learn something, you broaden your horizon, but you also broaden your social circle. That's kind of what we would love to do. Yeah.
I love to hear that. And could you also talk a little bit more about the type of people that you might encounter if you're staying at Zoku? What are their jobs? How old are they? Who might I meet?
Yeah. Well, this is where I got excited when I read from Outsite who you guys are have in your community, because it's quite similar. So I've actually stayed at Outsite Santa Teresa recently, and I loved it there. And I think what's really cool is that I just met people that I would also normally meet at Zoku. So we have people between the ages of 25 and 50, mostly in their 30s, I would say. And they're mostly working in the tech scene or the creative scene. Some consultancies or fintech as well. And they're often either working for like more modern international corporates, like I would say a Nike or an Uber or Red Bull. And they come here and they're either project managers or like mid-management and up kind of levels. We also have entrepreneurs, international entrepreneurs coming, setting up shop here in Amsterdam, and then kind of using us as their, starting up phase. Some people actually set up offices and they just worked from Zoku, and they were just like, this sounds good for the next 3 months. We also have people staying for a year. We actually just welcomed someone yesterday here, but they're mostly very much I would say people working for cool corporates or are really like nice, like I would say well-off freelancers or entrepreneurs that really want to stay somewhere without just becoming lonely and do a lot of good work.
Definitely a lot of overlap with the Outsite community there for sure. I'm just going to check the chat now to see if we have any other questions in there. Rebecca, did you have anything else that you wanted to add about Outsite or the partnership?
No, I don't think in particularly, because we've already mentioned the weekly breakfast and lunch with the stays of upwards of 14 nights. Also important to remember, you can earn your Outsite rewards credits with these stays. You are not able to use those credits on Zoku stays, but you're still earning when you do book. And in terms of the discounts our members get, it's up to 15%, and that will vary throughout the year depending on season and length of stay. That's it.
Thank you. We do have one more.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Veerle.
For everyone, I think this is honestly the best deal we've ever given away at Zoku, is with Outsite. So I think it's really good to know that you're getting a good deal. And like I said, I think Q1. So if you're looking for a winter getaway, that's really, if you're looking, if you think it's a bit too expensive still, then it's definitely one to watch there. Just to add.
Definitely. And I saw another question in the Q&A. Is Zoku Paris doing anything fun for the Olympics?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yes, we are. However, we are almost completely booked out by a certain team that I can't mention. So it's actually it's one of those things where we just got hijacked because they said we want Zoku as our home base. So yeah, we are doing fun stuff, but unfortunately, we can't do too many public events. So we have some small things in the works, but nothing concrete yet. But what you can do is you can go to our website and look at our events page. And there you will always kind of find the most updated version of what we're doing and what's upcoming. And it's actually a nice one if you go to stay at Zoku before you go, just check out the events that are happening. We've always got something on, so it's fun to get excited about your stay that way.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'll give folks just another minute. If there are any last minute questions, you can put them in the chat or in the Q&A box. But don't worry if you think of something a little bit later, you can reply to any of the emails that I send out about this event, or contact me on the Outsite Member Hub if you think of something that you'd like answered after this call is over, and we'll go ahead and get you in contact with the right team member or the right person who can answer your question. So I'm not seeing anything else in the chat or in the Q&A box. So I think that will wrap it up here. I wanted to take a moment to thank Veerle for taking some time out of her day to share about this partnership with us, as well as my colleague Rebecca, who joined us as well today. And thank you to everyone who came and joined the call to learn a little bit more about the Zoku and Outsite partnership. One last time, I am Lindsay. I'm head of community and events at Outsite. We have about just under 50 locations around the world now, with 4 new locations: Paris, Vienna, Copenhagen, and Amsterdam, with this partnership with Zoku that we're really, really excited about. I hope that everyone has a great rest of their day or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I do hope that we cross paths somewhere soon. So thank you again, Rebecca and Veerle. And thank you everyone who joined us.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.